All right, everybody. Oh, I am in the mobile command center or the savvy house or uh, just our wonderful home away from home and have our tea ready for us. Ready, ready, ready. Uh, and put the top on. There you go. And I'll pour your cup. It's for you. And my cup. This is for me. And I wanted to do something a little bit different today because we've reached our goal, 10,000. They should be sending me a badge in the next few hours or few days. I don't know how long it takes, but got my little badge. The next one after this is 400 episodes and 20,000 downloads. That's the next step in the badge process. But I thank everybody for all that you do and all of your support. It's awesome. But continuing today, we are talking about eliminating wasteful defects. Okay, and this is the last of the seven mudas. But first off, kanpai, ohayo gozaimasu. It's the last of the seven mudas, and eliminating wasted time and resources due to defects. Okay, from the business standpoint, when you have products that require it for you to rework because something went wrong, you have to repair it, then it's wasted, because if you got it right the first time, if you had your process down, you got all the kinks out before you started producing things, you don't have to go back and, like we said before, just think, everything that comes after the production of that one thing has to be delayed if it's got a defect or it wasn't done quite right and has to be sent back. So everything that could have went smoothly has to wait, has to stop, go back through the process again, or be repaired and come back before it can be picked up back where it was left off. So that's from the business standpoint. But there's all kind of books on Kaizen. There's all kind of books on the Toyota production system. All kind of Seven Mudas. There's all kind of books out there for the business. But for personal, what I like about these Japanese philosophies, or almost any philosophy, business philosophy, you could take the things that you do for business and apply it to your personal life. I just had this thought of, we are the CEOs of our personal life. Our personal life is our business. We go throughout our life saying, mind your own business and stuff like that. But think about it. Your personal life is your business. And what you see fit for your business as the CEO is where the company goes. Now, and this is where the defects come in. If you have flaws and you make mistakes, then in your personal life, then you could correct it, or you don't have to. What you do is your business. And with your business, for it to be a successful business, then, you want to take care of it. You want to have integrity. You want to have character. You want to do things the right way. So in our personal lives, it's just a little bit different. There's three things I wanted to think about. I was thinking about this morning as I was sitting in my thinking chair, just thinking about the things I think about. We sometimes have defects or flaws or mistakes in our personal thinking, the results of our actions, and our attitude towards life in general, right? And I was just thinking about this. It all starts with a thought, right? Everything starts with a thought. So in our thinking, we end up developing defects, or go down a line where things get corrupted, or we make mistakes, and it's due to the information that we're processing. Remember the last two times between the wasteful producing, the thoughts that we're producing, and the excess processing, all the information that's being fed to us from all sides at all times. What we take in is and process is the type of thoughts that are going to come out, right? So if it's garbage in, you're going to be thinking garbage, and you're going to produce garbage. Or if you're thinking greatness, or you're reading about greatness, or you're listening to greatness, then you're going to start thinking great thoughts of greatness, and then you're going to produce greatness. Your actions are going to be producing. Your thoughts are going to be producing your actions, and your actions are going to, carry on what carry out in the physical what's going on in the mental. So that's why it's so important to check your references or check your sources. Because I remember I was listening to a sermon, and it was so emotional. It was so awesome. And when I went back to read and study that little part of the scripture that they quoted, it was all hyper. And this was a very, very popular preacher at that time. And it was an excellent message. But the way he told the story didn't line up with the scripture he used. And when I read it, I was so disappointed, because I wanted to tell it the same way. But for me to do that, that would be like just knowingly go and say something that I shouldn't be saying because of the way it was presented. I mean, I would be misrepresenting that scripture just to get my point across. And I don't think God would be too happy about that. So just think about the sources and go back and fact check your stuff yourself, and where the sources and the intentions of what they were trying to do when you process this information. Because, like I said, it could lead you astray, or you could lead others astray, and then you don't want to do that. That would be a defect. That would be something that you need to correct. Okay? So usually when there's flawed thinking or things like that, you can go trace it back to the information that you got. And then you can look behind that and see what they were thinking. Now, if there is a agenda for that person or something, if you believe it and you act upon those things, you are pretty much aligning up with that agenda. So if it's agenda of greatness and say like diversity and things like that, then you probably will align yourself. My first church that I really got involved in after I got saved was all about bridging the gap. It was Victory World Church in Norcross. And Pastor Dennis, his whole demeanor, his whole life, everything about him was about bridging the gap between the races and really working towards community and really doing things. So everything that he did. So when I started learning or started listening to him and started taking notes and started applying it to my life, that shaped my thoughts, and my actions lined up with his actions. So I would do the same things. I would perpetuate the those thoughts and the actions that he was doing. So that's how that church was. I mean, we weren't like mindless robots, but my belief system lined up with his belief system, because all along I've loved different cultures and how things worked and the way they thought about things differently than the way I grew up in my house. So to have a church that actually promotes that too, I fit right in. When you have things that goes against that. So if my belief system was different and I go to that church and I go in there, either I'm going to be turned off or I'm going to try to take it down. Or, my actions will show that I'm different, and which leads to the next thing, the defects in the results of our actions. Those mistakes that we make are coming from the thoughts that we have. So the things that we intentionally do something to somebody on purpose and try to sabotage things, then that comes from the thinking that we were doing before, because everything starts with a thought. And the way we view things is framed by those thoughts. And the way we act is framed by those things that we're viewing. So that our reality is being shaped by the way we're thinking. So if we're listening to somebody that says, everybody is bad and this is horrible, and then you're going to see it as that way until you can replace those thoughts with new thoughts. So our actions will start to actually go to that third part, where our whole life view, how we view life, how we view others, how we think about others, and what we will do to others. So this is where the whole Kaizen comes from, the Kaizen Moai thing with Ikigai, really, with the term that I made, Wabikigai, which is Wabi Sabi, Ichigo Ichie, and Ikigai. Wabi Sabi is appreciating and finding perfection in imperfection. So these defects are not detrimental. These are not just things that you must is the end of you. What it's designed to do is for you to correct it and then better your life. And see, you find perfection in those imperfections, or you're working toward perfection. Ichigo Ichie is enjoying every moment and meeting as a once in a lifetime moment. And Ikigai is finding the reason for being and allowing that to be your source for your long fulfilled life. The source of why you do things, why you think a certain way, why you act a certain way, and how your attitude towards life is a certain way, all comes from that. So with this, what I want you guys to do is to always check your check for defects and flaws. Remember Hansei, review, turn over, and review your life. Self-reflect, and make sure that the lessons of life, that you're learning those lessons that life is trying to teach you. And the many defects that we experience, it's not a bad thing. It has bad connotations at first, but once you really get into it and you correct those things, it was a life learning thing that changed your life forever, that made you a better version of yourself. And we can all cheer to that. So with that being said, love you very much. Let's keep it going. Kampai.